Artemis here, and today this is my Hunter's Fury build, one that I've been saving for a little while, but due to request, I've decided to release it today as someone was asking about it. Okay, so onto the specialization tree. We are using the firewall, and there's a few reasons for this. I guess I'll just start at the top. So frontline recovery gives us 30% health on kill. That included with our gear set gives us 50, so this is like 60, 70, 80%, which is very, very good. 80% every kill that you get is amazing. We have the medkit, which gives us 200% over 10 seconds. That's always been a win, whether it be PvE or PvE. We do have the enriched magnesium formula, so 20% extra burn duration. Kind of nice for the specialization weapon, I guess, but also quite useful for fiery response. Now, fiery response is good because we are using this in PvE, and we also have unbreakable, perfectly unbreakable for that matter. So we're going to see a little bit more value out of this because our armor can break multiple times before we might need to actually use a medkit or heal up. So we also have the Firewall Tactical Link. Again, this is good because we are playing close range. We use an SMG shotgun, so we are going to be literally probably at least, within 10 meters. So this is going to give your allies some extra damage while you're doing your thing, getting up close. And we also have Bull Rush. So Bull Rush is reasonable. I guess if we were hurt and we were in cover, we just needed to cover. That's going to help us a little bit. And because we are multiple blue cores with this build, that 30% is not like 30% of like 800, 900,000. It's actually much, much more. So we're going to see some value from that too. Most importantly, we are using the SMG and shotgun. And having that unlocked gives us the tactical short grip, which we can put on the shotgun for extra crit damage, which is quite nice. Okay, so I think I'll just quickly go to the build, keep this one as short as possible. So for this one, I'm using the custom M870 MCS. Now, you can use, any shotgun you like. There's no requirement. You could even use an exotic shotgun if you wanted. So the Scorpio or anything like that, that's fine. This is just the way that I have mine set up. And I use this shotgun because it has extremely high burst damage. The base damage is extremely high as well, so we're going to get more value out of our pieces that increase shotgun damage. So I'll just go through this dead quickly. I've just got 10 ranks of expertise into this. This doesn't really matter. We're just playing PvE. You can put what you want in. It's going to work better than what you put in, but, just sort of ignore that stat for the moment. We have shotgun damage, damage to armor, and damage to targets out of cover. And the main thing is that I'm using Brazen. So this basically what it does is receive 3.5% amplified damage on the next shot with the weapon for each pellet that hits the target if at least 6 pellets hit. I think it's like 8 pellets that you fire out of your shotgun. So if we're point blank, it's going to be pretty nasty. I just have mine rolled with the crit chance mod scope on it, reload speed, and the tactical short grip, which we unlock from the specialization tree. So those are the attachments I've got on. You'll see that we are chasing crit chance, crit damage throughout this build. So for my SMG, I'm using the Lady Death. Again, this could be changed for any SMG. You could use the Ouroboros, potentially any of them, the Oxpecker if you liked, whatever you want. It's just that this has a direct reason for my playstyle, and that is because we are using the Memento backpack. I like to get a kill and then potentially run up and then use this gun to close the distance to get to the next target because this increases our speed. Let's just go through the gun dead quickly. Again, 10 ranks of expertise. You can put what you want into it. That's no problem. This one comes with SMG damage, crit chance, and then the bottom rail has damage to targets out of cover, so that was modified from what it originally was. So for the talent, we have Breathe Free. When moving, gain 4 stacks per second, or 8 stacks if sprinting. Max stacks is equal to the weapon's magazine size. So each round fired consumes a stack, amplifying the damage by 75%. Kills grant 20% movement speed for 10 seconds. So we can see that we get some crit chance, crit damage. And we also have the melee as well, which is useful if we get to the end of a magazine and enemy's almost dead, we can just quickly melee them. But yeah, I like to use this because it keeps me sort of zipping around, and I can move from one place to another as I get a kill. If I get a kill further away, I can quickly run over, grab that tag if I've got the bonus up there. So I think this plays in quite nicely with this build, and it allows me to close the distance to get close to people. Again, that plays into the gear set bonuses that we're going to see in just a moment. So for the pistol, I'm using something different for a change. I'm using the Orbit, and the main reason for this is just the talent. Just to go through the attributes, it's just pistol damage and damage to targets out of cover. And I am using the talent of Perfect Finisher, which obviously you can't change. Swapping from this weapon, within 10 seconds of killing an enemy grants 35% crit chance and 40% crit hit damage. Absolutely amazing. If you do get that kill and you switch weapons, this is going to benefit shotgun and SMG to no end. So yeah, useful. I have mine with a reload speed and a crit chance mod on it. So just in case you were wondering what I was using on it, there you go. So I guess what I'll do is I will start with the gear set first, talk about the brand set, and then I'll go through the exotic. So I'm using Hunter's Fury. I think we've figured that out already. So let's go through the bonuses first and then talk about the pieces. So 2 pieces of this gives me shotgun damage and SMG damage. Great, 2 weapons that I'm using, right? So 3 pieces give me armor on kill, which is very nice. 20% armor on kill is good. And then that 50% that we were talking about earlier, and that stacks up to 80 with the specialization. So every kill that we get, we're going to be getting extra armor, extra health, all good stuff. So the 4 pieces, it gives you Apex Predator. So enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. So that's 20% amplified damage against enemies that you're within 15 meters of. So if you kill a debuffed enemy with your weapon, it disorientates other enemies that are within 5 meters of that enemy, basically, and amplifies your weapon damage by 5% per 10 seconds, and you get stacks up to 5 times. Sorry. Like I say, I'm a bit sick today, so reading is definitely not my specialization today. Anyway, enough of that. I have mine rolled with an armor core on the top. I have crit hit damage and a crit hit chance mod. For my gloves, again, rolled with armor and crit hit damage on the bottom. For my holster, this one's rolled with weapon damage and crit hit damage. And for my knees, I am using armor and crit hit damage. So, for the brand set, I am using the 0F chest piece. So this gives me 10% extra shotgun damage. Very good. This comes with a core attribute of 170,000 armor. I have crit hit damage, crit hit chance, and a crit hit damage mod slotted in. And it gives us the talent Perfectly Unbreakable. So when your armor depletes, it gives you 100% back in PvE. I have made a mistake with this previously, and I've had Crypt Anonymous and a couple of other YouTubers kind of point this out. So I just need to be careful about when I'm talking about PvE and PvP. But in PvP, this number is absolutely 100%. Okay, so 100% of your armor in PvE. So with that said, let's just move on to the backpack. And this is the memento. So effectively what this is going to do is it's going to give you 1 of each core attribute tier. So you're going to gain weapon damage, armor, and a skill tier. Now that'll be important in just a moment. I'll go through that in just a sec, why that's good. But let's just go through a couple of the things. So I do have a PvP build, so I've put 20 ranks of expertise in. You can ignore that stat if you wish. Put in what you want here. I also have a crit chance mod popped into there just to give me some extra crit chance. And then we have the talent Kill Confirmed. So enemies you kill drop a trophy on death, which we were talking about. Collecting the trophies provide a buff short and long term. And the first which scales with the number of cores and attributes equipped and lasts 10 seconds. So basically, for every red core that we've got, which we've got 2, we're going to gain 5% extra weapon damage. For every blue core that we've got, we're going to get 10% extra bonus armor. So we have 5, so that's like 50. And then with every skill tier that we have, we gain skill efficiency, so that's just 1. Not really using skills as much, but skill efficiency can give our shield a little bit of extra health, so nothing to complain about there. For every trophy collected, we gain an additional 1% weapon damage, 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regeneration for 300 seconds. Maximum stacks is 30, so that can bring us up to 3% armor regen. So effectively, we can gain 3% armor regen just by getting kills, which is really good. Again, on top of the armor on kill and everything else, this is going to keep us in the fight for quite some time. So this directly plays into, as well, me using the memento, and I can just run and grab the tag deck quickly. It's quite useful. I like it. I think it's something that maybe if you play with as well, you'll probably enjoy. Onto the skills, just using the Reviver Hive. Because this is a PvE build, I mean, a Reviver Hive, it makes sense. You can do what you want here. You can put on whatever skill you like. This just saves me having to call for teammates to come pick me up if I go down, or if I'm on my own from a complete wipe, I guess. So just modded in the same way as normal. Extra Reviver armor, range, and duration. And then for the shield, we're taking advantage of the Striker Specialization Shield. So this one not only gives us more damage, but it also has a little bit of extra health because of the mods that are put into it. So we can see extra shield health. And obviously damage to enemies that are in front of the shield. It also gives people behind you a little area that buffs them. And enemies that are in front of your shield, they kind of take more damage. And you can also use the flamethrower if that's something that you care about. So... okay, with the grenades, yeah, nothing to write home about. Use them in tight quarters. You know, don't try and throw them into open spaces because they're not going to do well. I think that's pretty much enough said. Right, so what I'll do is check the range, which is right. We'll just go in and make sure that specialization isn't on, the modifiers aren't on, and we'll just turn off the skill haste. Okay, right, that's going to give us some accurate numbers, so we're not seeing any, modified stats. So weapon talents are brazen, breathe free, perfect finisher. We have weapon damage is pretty high. Like I said, crit chance, crit damage, if I can speak. And obviously on Lady Death we're at 60, so we're at the cap. And we also have crit damage here as well. So we've reached caps there. Weapon damage is reasonably high, but you've got to remember that we're also gaining passive damage grabs from having the gear set on, which is going to give us amplified damage on top of that, right? So the main thing to say here is, look, you can have as many red cores or blue cores as you want, but the way that mine works is because I have 5 blue cores and 1 yellow core, my shield is a tier 6. So that makes my shield stronger, it gives it more health, and I can sit behind it. And not only that, when I do get armor on kill or armor regen, I'm going to be able to get more value from that. And I'm also up close and personal. Having some extra armor for me, in my case, I kind of like that better. So the balance is your own to play with, but, just find what works for you. Anyway, I'll just quickly move down to the gear talent. So we have kill confirmed, we've talked about that, and perfectly unbreakable. We've got 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, the Memento backpack, and the Zero Fs, which is a Badger Tough brand set. We have 1.68 million armor, so nearly 1.7. Armor on kill is 337,000. We also have nearly 290,000 health on kill, so 1 kill can nearly completely fill our health. Armor regeneration, we're not going to see a large number there. I think it gets to about 60,000, I want to say, 60, 70,000 at most. So obviously the more armor you have, because it's based off a percentage, that's going to go a little bit higher. You can put some expertise ranks into that if you want to. Obviously, another thing to say is that if you're not level 1000, you're not going to have some of the stats that I have, so please bear that in mind. And for our skills, we have the Reviver Hive, change it if you wish, and the Specialization Shield. I personally have spec'd the build to operate with this to have more health, because we have a tier 6 shield between 5 blue cores and 1 skill tier. Okay, so how to use the build? Well, just get close and personal, I guess. No, just kidding. So yeah, the shotgun that we have is going to do big damage. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a named enemy. And what we're going to want to do is you want to get all the pellets on the target if you can. So now that we've hit all the pellets onto the target, if you're in range, shoot for the head. If you can't miss, shoot for the head. If you're at sort of a little bit further back, 5 meters or so, maybe just shoot into the chest. But Like I say, this gun is going to do big damage, and the more stacks that you're going to get, the higher damage this is going to get. So I think if we just quickly stack this up, let's maybe get a few kills here and just see what we can do with it. I would be interested to see. I'm fairly certain we could hit for maybe 1 million a crit, let's say. If I can actually hit my target. Okay, I'm not moving, so this is not going to be super high damage right now. And again, remember that our damage numbers will go up the more kills that we get. Okay, that's not super stacking high, so maybe if we just drop it down to an easy target. I'm just keen to see what this shotgun can hit at if we get it fully stacked. Okay, there's one. There's 2 stacks. There's 3 stacks. Okay, we can see what they're hitting for 1 mil there straight away, and that's not even on armor, so. Okay, so we can get it up to around 1 mil, so yeah. So the shotgun's nice. If we get in close, we just have a small magazine, just got to remember that. But if you get a big boss enemy that you need to do some damage quickly, you can just run in and, you know, sort of hit him with that. Right, so on to the Lady Death. We need to stay mobile with this weapon because obviously stacks when you're moving. So you can see that under just the ammo there, you can see the 2 sort of pistols like side by side. When that's fully charged up, you've got a full magazine full of amp damage. So the amp damage is going to help to alleviate the fact that we're taking blue cores. And don't forget as well, obviously we get stacks from not only the gear set, but also the memento as well. I think we're going to be hitting for around, I want to say about 800,000 in the head. Once we get fully charged, I think I've seen it roughly around 700,000-800,000, which is plenty enough. But yeah, once we get a kill, if we see a tag that we want to run to, we can just quickly run over and grab that, you know, much faster. It's also going to allow us to close the gap and pull out the shotgun if we want to. Don't forget about the shield as well. This is going to give us more damage, you know, when enemies are in front of the shield. So obviously, if you just run around, it's just the old way how people used to play. Pull out the shield, bang, done. Okay, so there's not really much more to talk about. Just don't forget that you've got the pistol if you want to pull that out. That's going to help, you know, grab at some crit chance, crit damage if you need it, especially with the shotgun that's low on crit chance as it is. It's definitely going to help, extra 30%. And, you know, the cluster grenades, if there's a few enemies within a tight space, let's just bring a few enemies together. You know, you're going to see some value out of the cluster grenades, I guess. Right, try to be mindful about how long the video is taking. Hope that's good information for you there, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks again, guys. Cheers for the ongoing support, and, you know, like and subscribe if you can.